Welcome everybody, Shir number 936. We're learning today L'Refuah Shlema Roy David Ben Sigalit, Le'ilei Nishmas Moshe David Ben Rabban Zizel, and Le'ilei Nishmas Blima Bas Rab Moshe. Getting back to our malacha of MAKEH B'PATISH. Okay, so we are in the middle of talking about the various different gezeros midrabanan in reference to MAKEH B'PATISH Tikamana, and we are talking about right now the inyanim, the gezerah actually, whereby Chazal said one is not allowed to put perfumes or nice smelling items, put a nice smell b'chlal into various different items. So we established the fact, number one, in reference to food, it doesn't apply. In reference to in general, the body in general doesn't apply. I just want to make one small correction, which we did talk about. We were talking about in reference to deodorant. So we said as far as the aerosol, the spray, that was fine. Even if when one is spraying, you spray it on your body. But if it happened to have hit a little drop of clothing, we said the Sefer Shabbos Home brought it down that was fine. One other thing I do want to make a correction. We mentioned roll-on not to use, but roll-on because of the question of mimareach smearing, but roll-on is okay. Roll-on is not in that category of smearing. The problem is if it's a gel or it's a stick. So that's what he brings down. That the Sefer Shabbos Home, a solid or gel deodorant may not be used on Shabbos, because in applying it, one smoothens out this and smears the stick itself. So a gel or a stick or the like, that can be used. But the aerosol, the spray, and roll-on deodorants he brings down may be used on Shabbos because they are liquids. Roll-on is liquids. If it's taka like a something whereby it's going to be smeared like the stick, so that can't be used. But the regular roll-on is liquid apparently. That's how it brings it down. Aerosol also, the spray, so those are fine. I just wanted to correct that because I happen to have mentioned the deodorants in the other shiurim. I think I did mention roll-ons, so that's one correction. Now, as far as getting back to some interesting examples in reference to putting in smell that come up on Shabbos, putting in a nice smell, a perfume smell on Shabbos, which come up. So first of all, he brings down that the Sefer Shabbos Home in reference to air fresheners. What about a simple air freshener? Is there a problem to just spray it up into the air? You have sometimes in the bathroom, or you have b'chlal, a person wants to just spray into the air. You're not bedafka spraying on a material, any air freshener. You're not spraying a nice perfume smell onto an item onto a material b'chlal, just up into the air. So it'll give a nice smell in the air. So he brings down one is allowed. He does takasei on page 541. One is permitted to spray air fresheners into the air on Shabbos, and the reason being that it's not it's a davar. There's not, in other words, there's nothing there. It's just spraying. You're not spraying onto anything. It's sort of like if you want to say something that doesn't really exist, even though it's air, but obviously air does exist, but for halachic reasons, it's not really something that's actually there. So be it as it may, bottom line is air fresh, as he brings down, is fine. Now, what about into a tank, into a toilet tank, one that wants to put we spoke about in the past in reference to the coloring, whereby one has, let's say, a blue or a green or whatever the color is, when they put that little ball into the water of the tank and it colors the tank, we said that was taka a problem. What about if one has one that's not a color, it's white or whatever, and there's no color at all, but it gives the water a nice smell? What about that? Okay, so we spoke about taka. We said when it comes to water, it's a problem. If it's regular drinking water, so it's a food. If somebody drinks water, so that's fine. We said that regular food is no problem. But when you have water, we said water is split up two ways. Water could be used for other things also, washing hands or whatever. Obviously, in a toilet tank, the water is not something that's drinkable, obviously, so that becomes like a regular item, like a regular utensil, like a carpet or a piece of clothing, or whatever the case is, whereby you cannot spray it and put in a nice scented smell. So he brings that down, taka, that one is forbidden, it's taka asr on Shabbos, to place a scented deodorizer into the toilet tank, for this imparts a pleasant odor into the water. Just like we said, you're not supposed to make the color the water, even though we said in general, when it comes to foods, we said when it comes to food, ein tzviya ba'oichlin. In general, we hold that there's no problem of coloring foods, in general, regular edible foods, but obviously, like we said, the water in the toilet tank is not something that's edible, and thereby it takes the halachas of tzeveya coloring, and it would take over here also the halachas of putting in a scent, and where one is not supposed to do that on Shabbos. Similarly, similarly, if a toilet already contains a perfumed dispenser, it may not be flushed on Shabbos. He brings down with each flushing, the new water that flows will be newly perfumed. So one has to be careful not to do that, not to have it put in on Shabbos, and if it isn't there, not using it on Shabbos, not using the bathroom. If they have another one, to use a different bathroom. And we're not going to get into the whole thing. One has to be careful. Obviously, if one is stuck, that's the only bathroom covered abrius. Obviously, in this case, one is allowed to use the bathroom, but one should be careful not to do it on Shabbos. Now, as far as using the bathroom itself, no, the bathroom, like we said, there's various different reasons for that. Obviously, you have number one, covered abrius, which is the strongest reason, and the whole thing, it's a lemais, it's a grama anyways, on a derabanan, okay, for various different reasons, which we're not going to get into right now. Obviously, if somebody's stuck, it's fine, but one should be careful. Now, as far as he brings down an interesting thing also, which I never really thought about myself. Actually, I've done it in the past, but regular mouthwash, many times people put in, they want to dilute the mouthwash. They want to put water into the mouthwash, right? They'll have, let's say, mouthwash in a cup. So using regular mouthwash, that's no problem. That's the body, that's the mouth. A person is allowed to use mouthwash, even though it's going to give a nice smell to their mouth. And not just that, it's actually more for taking away the bad odor than so much giving the nice smell. That's the Sefer HALCHOS brings that down, but the Maisi does bring down, one is forbidden on Shabbos to dilute flavored mouthwash with water. You want to put water into a cup with the mouthwash, so that's running into a problem, for thereby imparts scent into the water. Again, the problem is over here that the water is not really, even though you're using it in your mouth to rinse the mouth, but it's not a drinkable water. It's not really food. You're just putting in the water to dilute the item, which is the mouthwash, which also is something you're just using to get rid of the bad odor in one's mouth. So that's how he brings it down. One is also to Shabbos to dilute the flavored mouthwash with water, thereby imparts a scent into the water. So it's just to use the regular mouthwash the way it is on Shabbos without diluting it. He brings down also, it's also to spray scented deodorizers on furniture, carpets, on Shabbos and the like on a sofa. Let's say on a sofa, a lot of times it comes up and maybe a baby was there, or the baby, somebody changed the diaper, or whatever the case is. Maybe the smell wasn't so what it should be on the sofa, on the couch. So spraying these things, spraying a sofa, a couch, or so on, or a carpet. If somebody did something like that on the carpet, one has to be careful not to spray these in yanim on Shabbos. Again, putting in a nice smell. It's forbidden also scented to deodorize. Various different type of spraying deodorizers on the furniture, carpets, sofas, and couches, and so on Shabbos. Another interesting example he brings down, a lot of times people have shoes, they don't smell so great from the feet or whatever, so he says the same thing. Likewise, it's taka also the same thing, to place scented powder or scented deodorizers into the shoes on Shabbos. Again, we're talking about on Shabbos. Leaving it there from before Shabbos, that's fine, that's not the issue, right? But putting it in there on Shabbos, even though it's a shoe, it's also a problem. Same thing, like we said, putting perfumes, colognes, or so on any type of garments, dress, shirts, suits, and these type of things. Specifically, again, on the garment, when you put it on the body, right? Let's say somebody puts cologne or perfume on the body, and now they get it on their blouse, they'll put on their shirt, whatever. So it's on the body, and because the shirt happened to touch the body, so maybe the shirt got some of the smell of the blouse. So that's not the issue. It's hard to say it's an enim eschaven over there, but the bottom line is they put it onto their body, and they put the nice smell on their body. So that is fine. A person's allowed to put on the clothing afterwards. The shaila is putting it onto these things, on the shirt, on the suit, on the shoes, and these things that one should not do. We spoke about also in reference to wigs, right? We said sheitel or so on, a hairspray on Shabbos is in general, hairspray shouldn't be used, but let's say it's not the type that makes the hair hard, hardens up the hair, or on the sheitel, or whatever the case is. So he says, however, spraying a wig with scented hairsprays violates another prohibition, obviously, which is of perfuming these hairs and so on. Thank you for listening. Atzlach and Bracha Kol Tov.